Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. From Studio A in Texas, USA, it's the award-winning automotive car talk show, In Wheel Time. Just ahead, a review of our car of the week, the 2021 Ford F-150, the one with the electric generator.
Yeehaw!
A look at our weekly events calendar, and we'll have the stories making automotive news headlines this week. That and more just ahead on today's In Wheel Time car show for Saturday, February 20th, 2021. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin over there in the corner. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us today. And we're going to get right to it because I really want to talk to Mr. Mike. Mike, I want to make sure I got your name right. Is it Monticello or Monticello?
We usually say Monticello, but honestly, it probably should be pronounced Monticello. I had a cross-country coach back in college that used to always say Monticello, and he was the only one that said it that way, but I kind of liked it.
Well, I actually kind of like Monticello. It's like I got smart all of a sudden. I don't know. Huh?
Let's change it to that. Today, we're changing my name.
Monticello
Right.
it is.
Let's just call him Mike.
Mike is with Consumer Reports, and so glad that you could join us today. We really do appreciate it. And we wanted to talk to you today about advanced safety systems on automobiles. And man, what a long way that has come just in the past few years. I mean, things have progressed really rapidly. And I wanted to ask you, so give us kind of a brief overview and let's get into this for a little bit.
Yeah. So, well, the brief overview is what we're talking about here is we're talking about systems like forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking, pedestrian detection, blind spot warning. Those are the safety systems. There's other systems that are more driver assist systems, such as lane keeping assistance and adaptive cruise control. Those aren't really safety systems. So we're really focused on these systems. And automatic emergency braking is one of those systems that, a whole bunch of the manufacturers got together a few years ago and kind of made this voluntary agreement that by 2022, a vast majority of their vehicles were going to come standard with this. And Consumer Reports was involved in that. And, they did that because it seemed easier. If they tried to do it through regulations, you know how that goes. That takes years and years. So credit to the auto manufacturers coming together and saying, okay, we're going to try and do this. And, these systems are proven: forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking, and rear cross traffic warning. That's the system. And we can go through all these systems if you guys want to explain exactly what they do. But these are the systems that have been proven to actually reduce crashes. And that's what it's all about.
Well, I have to tell you that the first one that I really appreciated was the blind spot warning system. And I think that it really, as far as mass market is concerned, I think that it was probably the first one to get in almost every vehicle around. I still use it. It's wonderful. Just the little yellow light in my side view mirror over there tells me everything that I need to know.
Right. And blind spot warning is actually, we're seeing many more vehicles are coming standard with automatic emergency braking than forward collision warning. Blind spot warning is still a lot of cars are coming standard with blind spot warning, but that's one of the ones that is still sometimes an option. So that's not coming standard, or it's not coming standard across all the trim lines. So it may not have it on the base or maybe the second tier trim. And and also the thing about blind spot warning is, of the safety systems, it's likely the one that a owner is going to notice more than any other, because anytime a car comes alongside you in your blind spot, like you said, that's when that little yellow or red icon is going to show up, usually in your side mirror, maybe in the A-pillar. And then the other neat thing is, if you for some reason don't notice that and you put on your turn signal, this is only for people who actually, use their turn signals.
Yeah.
Which leaves all the BMW owners out, right?
I don't want to call anyone specifically out. That's what you guys said. But if you put on your turn signal with a car in your blind spot, then that icon will flash at you. So to really get your attention, say, hey, there's someone over there. So.
And some cars will, in the past, used to shake the seat as well.
Yeah, Cadillac did that.
Yeah.
No, General Motors has a what they call this sort of like safety seat that the whole seat will vibrate, which is actually a really good idea because that really alerts you. Maybe
So
more than
let me,
anything.
let me ask a question on Consumer Reports. Do you guys survey how many customers don't realize they have automatic braking on their car, automatic collision braking on their car? Because I think there's a lot of customers out there that don't realize that's on their vehicle.
I'm sure there is. I actually don't know. I'm sure we've done that. I don't have the numbers offhand on me, but I'm sure it's quite a lot of people don't realize it. You know what they're hopefully only going to see, and a lot of them won't. If they're cautious drivers, they
never know it's there, right?
They won't ever see it there because the first thing they're going to get is a forward collision warning. So an alert in their instrument cluster that's going to flash at them. Maybe it's going to say brake or something. It's going to say something to warn them. And some systems, I will say though, are a lot more cautious than others, right? So if you might see it and you're like, why is it even telling me this? But I will say even the ones that are more cautious would much rather have those than not have it at all, right? But if you when the system actually does start braking on you, and it's gonna take you by surprise.
It's gonna freak you out, is what it's gonna do.
Yeah. And the other thing is same thing with rear cross traffic warning. Now, usually rear cross traffic warning comes in the same package as blind spot warning. They group those together. And rear cross traffic warning, that's when you put the car in reverse. And of course, as you guys know, all cars these days have to come with a rear view camera. So it's usually going to display in your infotainment screen. And so when you put it in reverse, it's now sensing for vehicles coming from both sides behind you. This is when you're backing up out of a parking spot and maybe you can't see. And it can sense the car coming before you can even see it in the mirror or in the rear view camera. And it will then start giving you warnings. Usually it's going to flash at you and probably tell you which side the vehicle is coming from. And if it has rear automatic braking, which is, again, something not a lot of cars have yet, but they're coming, rear automatic braking will actually slam on the brakes for you as well.
That's the Volvo commercial with the family. Yep. It's really a catchy commercial and really like it. And I have to tell you that I love those cross-traffic alerts. Those things. Yeah, and with the braking, it's the bomb.
Yeah.
In terms of systems that you're going to notice, right? Like you said, blind spot warning, you're going to notice more than any other of these safety systems. Rear cross-traffic warning is probably what you're going to notice second because, look, we're backing up out of parking spots all the time.
I love all of these systems. The one that I absolutely despise is that lane keeping assist. And every car that I get into that's got it on, I turn it off. It drives me insane.
You know how to turn it off, Don? Use the blinker. It doesn't activate if you use the blinker.
No, this is the lane keeping assist.
I know.
It keeps you in your lane rather than changing lanes.
Right.
Well, no, this is perfect. This is kind of something that Consumer Reports is behind, along with AAA, JD Power. We're trying to kind of clear the confusion about all these safety and driver assist names. This is a great topic because the manufacturers use all different kinds of names for all these different systems because they want to be able to brand their system and not to call out Subaru. But Subaru actually did a great job with what they call their EyeSight. It's a suite of advanced safety and driver assist systems, right? But even within that, they still call, they might call it, side collision assistance or something, or forward mitigation something or other, right? So what we've tried to do is we've come up with a list of safety and driver assist names that we're trying to get the whole industry
common
to adopt. And that's why I think there's some confusion. So lane departure warning is different than lane keeping assistance. Lane departure warning, I think, is what you're talking about, where if you get near a lane and then it either is going to start beeping at you or try to steer you back across.
That's it.
Lane keeping assistance is more of a system that you hopefully would only be using on the highway. And that's actually going to be steering. It could actually do the steering for you and try and keep the car within the lane. But yeah, lane departure warning is something that is helpful, right? Especially, let's say if you're driving sleepy or if you aren't paying attention, it's going to beep at you or try and get your attention if you start drifting across that lane. But because some systems are so sensitive, it's just the way they tune them. I think some people are going to turn them off because they don't want to keep hearing that beeping sound, right? So there's usually a little button somewhere on the dashboard or maybe on the center console. You can press that, turn that off, and then you don't have it. Lane keeping assistance is a different thing, which kind of comes into that whole, what we have termed active driving assistance, which is the combination of lane keeping assistance, which is giving steering assist, and adaptive cruise control, which, as you guys know, will keep a gap to the car ahead after you set your speed and will brake the car for you. A lot of the systems even can come to a complete stop in traffic and then get going again. So we call that active driving assistance when you group lane keeping assistance, the steering assist, like the Tesla autopilot, with adaptive cruise control. That's what we're calling it. And that's what we're hoping the industry is going to adopt.
Create some sort of standardization so the consumer can look model to model or,
and here
or brand
I am,
to brand.
Yeah, and I'm the perfect example because I was calling it lane keeping assist, and it's really departure warning. Yeah.
How does it work? Does it work off of GPS? Because I know here in Houston, with all the road changes and construction, they're always moving lanes. So how does that vehicle know that it's in a lane?
Well, so it's a combination of sensors and cameras. The Cadillac system, which is the system that we've rated the highest. It's called Super Cruise, and that one does have pre-mapped road. It will only work on pre-mapped divided highways, and that's one of the reasons why we like it so much, because it won't turn on, say, on a back road or even a 2-lane road. It has to be a divided, pre-mapped highway, and they've mapped most of the highways, so it should work most places. But the other key thing about that Cadillac Super Cruise system, and one of the big reasons why when we tested 17 of these active driving assistance systems recently, it was evaluated as the best according to Consumer Reports, is because it uses a direct driver monitoring system, right? So it's got an infrared camera that is in front looking at the driver's eyes. And so once you set the Super Cruise and you're going down the highway at your set speed, and it will take care of the steering. You can actually take your hands fully off the wheel, and you will not have to, as long as you're paying attention to the road, the system will not make you put your hands back on the wheel unless it encounters some situations coming up that
like the stripes in the road go away because you're entering a construction zone.
Exactly. So it might not know about a construction zone ahead of time, but it does know about a sharp curve coming. So if it has to, it will slow the car down to make sure it can make it through the turn. If for some reason it feels, and so there's this green LED, there's lights on top of the steering rim. It's actually really neat. So when it's good to go and you're fine. But again, if you are looking over here or you're looking down and you're looking at your phone, it's gonna start warning you up. You got to look back, at the road.
Pay attention, fool.
Exactly. Most systems, the way they do it is could be 5, 10, sometimes even a couple minutes. They'll just flash on the instrument cluster that, you need to put your hands back on the wheel, but it doesn't really know whether you're looking at the road or not. And that's why we think this direct driver monitoring is where, as far as safety wise, that's where we think the automakers really should go.
Yeah. Mike, what do you do when you test these cars for all of these safety systems? How do you go through all of this and set up some sort of parameter, some sort of rules that you go to judge them all the same? How does that work?
Well, I'm actually not the one that does that. We have another couple people that do that. But what they do is, first of all, we've now put lines, so we have this 327-acre facility in central eastern Connecticut, kind of out in the woods. Used to be the old Connecticut dragway before they sold it to Consumer Reports back in the 80s. And so we have, this huge long straightaway.
So in other words, what you're telling us is you got a drag strip out there in your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
We like that.
Yep.
Well, once this whole COVID thing is over, come out and take a visit and maybe get you on our podcast or something.
So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so we've now put lines on our track so that we can, evaluate how well these systems work. We also now have a pedestrian test dummy that we use to check out the pedestrian detection system that's linked with.
Have you had any accidents with the pedestrians?
Only once.
Only once. I feel bad for the poor dummy.
Yeah, we've got Don instead.
That's me.
And then we also have a foam test car. So we test both the pedestrian detection in the daylight and at night. And we test whether the automatic emergency braking system works properly with this foam test car. That if the car does hit it, which has happened a few times, the car explodes into 30 pieces, and then our poor tech engineer Sean Sinclair has to put it back together.
So he's not too happy with you if that happens. I can only.
So you don't use a brick wall to actually test it.
No, we stopped doing that. Yeah,
Yeah,
we did that once.
I like the fact that you said you stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people use a kind of like a drive-through curtain at the new car manufacturers when they're training salespeople at those events to show them the auto braking, and you kind of drive through a curtain that brakes, and just in case the car doesn't stop, it still senses that there.
That's smart. I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah, it's much better than my buddy down there. He used a brick wall. He wanted to see if it really worked. He used a brick wall.
How'd that work out?
It worked. It worked. It saved him.
He's the one that said, "Hold my beer, watch this."
Exactly.
I just want to clarify. I was joking about the brick wall. We didn't actually use that.
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't. But you know.
So are you in Connecticut right now?
I am. Yeah.
Where at in Connecticut?
I'm at my girlfriend's in East Hampton, and I live in Colchester. Colchester is where the test track is actually located.
How deep's the snow?
We've probably got about a foot or so.
Not too bad.
Yeah, we freaked out
very
over 2 inches of
nonchalantly. He
sleet.
says a foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you guys doing?
We got power back.
You got any
Good.
water?
Don't have water yet, but we got power back.
I got water. I got in a bottle.
I feel for you guys. I know it's a real tough situation right now.
Mike, can you take us over to your sink and show us what water looks like?
So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is I want to know, how in the world did you get this primo job at the Auto Test Center at Consumer Reports?
No kidding.
Why, I know your good looks probably has a lot to do with it, but it's just like, what a dream job that would be. How fun.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember sitting around, I've been a car guy for, since forever. Me and my brother and my dad. And I remember sitting around in high school with a bunch of my car buddies. We were reading the car magazines, Car and Driver, Road and Track, all those things.
Oh yeah.
And we're like, how do you get that job? How do you get that job where you're driving and writing about these cars? And we were so dumb, we didn't know how, right? So, long story short, I went to school, and then I realized that the way to do this was through journalism, but I already had a degree. So I went back to school and got a master's degree in journalism. And then that started me on my path. And I honestly thought I was going to have to work, in newspapers. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I thought I was just going to have to be like a beat reporter, work my way up through the ladder. But as part of my master's program, we had to do a summer internship, and I was just so fortunate that I got a summer internship at Road and Track out in California. That's where they were located back then. And then again, super fortunate that someone was retiring when my internship was done, and I got on full time there, and I was there for 10 years. And but I'm from the East Coast. I'd always wanted to get back here, and so I started paying attention to openings at the Auto Test Center at Consumer Reports. And when one was available, I jumped on it, and again, just was super fortunate to get the job. And it's amazing. The other places I worked, we never had our own test facility, and I can't tell you how amazing it is to, when you need to reevaluate a car. There was something that you're like, that you're writing your story, right? And you're like, I got to go take this around the track again, just double check what this person said that I didn't see that, so go take it around the test track, and you get to reevaluate that. And we have all of our engineers there. Of course, right now we don't, because we're all working from home. But when things are working properly, it's a pretty amazing thing. And I just feel so fortunate that I have this opportunity.
Well, clearly you're talented enough that they keep you around the place. I mean, it's how long have you been there now?
Well, yeah, I fooled them for 5 years now. So they got caught on. Let's hope they don't catch on.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you that I worked with a guy that he was a car guy, and Consumer Reports. I hate Consumer Reports. They always, but I've always liked Consumer Reports. They tell it like it is, and I have to tell you that whatever it says in Consumer Reports, a lot of people follow that, and
and they're consistent. That's the thing about them. There really isn't a lot of opinion. What Consumer Reports delivers is basically test facts, and that's one of the things I like about it as well.
And that's why we have you on, because, I mean, it's a non-biased opinion. Hey, here are the facts. We tested all these cars in this, advanced safety systems, and this is what we came up with. We got the good, better, best, and not so good, and not so best.
That's what we're trying to do. That's why we buy all of our own test cars. We do rent cars from manufacturers. A lot of publications, there's this whole press fleet of test cars throughout the country that journalists can get their hands on. And we have access to that same press fleet, but we actually pay for the use of those test cars. Again, we're trying to make it clear that we're as non-biased as we can possibly be. Right. And then we buy all of our own test cars anonymously. So we buy them from a dealer just like everyone else throughout Connecticut, and we separate it amongst all of ourselves so that hopefully the dealers won't remember us, and we do it all by email or text or phone, and that's how we purchase those cars, because we don't want not that the manufacturer would do this, but we don't want them to get their hands on the car to possibly just make sure that hey, who's the little puppy there?
That's Suze.
This is the Suze. Yeah, she's our studio dog.
She's the producer.
Yeah, she's the producer. Yeah. So I have to ask you, if what kind of personal car do you have, or can you divulge that?
I can. No, I have an old Toyota Tacoma pickup truck that I've had for a while, and it just it honestly mostly stays in my garage.
And continues to increase in value.
Yeah, it's funny. I have had a couple guys at the office have said, okay, I want first rights on that truck if you ever decide to sell it. Yeah. I mostly just use it for, going to the dump on Saturdays and just kind of putting around. But every once in a while, I need to throw a motorcycle or something in there. But we have a huge fleet of test cars because we're always buying cars and we're always selling our cars, but we keep our cars for, 6 to 8 months, maybe even a year, in case we need to retest it for some reason or reevaluate it against another car. So we end up having a fleet of cars. We have more cars. Everyone gets a car every night, I guess is what I'm saying. So that's why the Ford Tacoma sits in the truck with the battery tender on it most of the time.
So do you have a clipboard in the front seat that whoever drives it has to add their own notes to the truck or car or whatever it is?
So we used to do that where every car had a logbook, and now we switched over to a digital logbook, which honestly is so much easier because, first of all, no one could read my writing anyway. So they were, we have these logbooks and write them in by hand. Now we've switched over to this digital logbook. So everything, our whole car list is now, on our computers. And so what I do is once I finish my road evaluation, I sit down and I just type all my notes into this logbook. I can see everyone else's notes on, driving position, seat comfort, rear seat comfort, access, powertrain. Everyone puts their notes in. Everyone can read everyone's notes. And I got to say, I think you guys are going to be talking about the F-150, the 2021 F-150.
Yep.
That truck, because we had the optional work console thing, where the gear selector folds down when you're in park.
It slides into the console.
Yeah, and you have this big laptop. That truck was the easiest note inputting truck because I'm just sitting there with my laptop on that laptop thing. It worked perfectly, I got to say. For putting my notes in, that was the easiest notes I ever put into any vehicle.
Mike, we can't tell you how much we appreciate it. What a wealth of information you are, and I have to tell you that we got to have you back. So let's plan on having you back here in a few months and see what you got cooking. Okay.
I would love to come back. Thank you so much for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
And I hope you get your water back soon.
Yeah, we're all hoping for that. Thanks again. Mike Monticllo, the Consumer Reports Advanced Safety Systems guy. Great interview, and we really appreciate him taking the time. Time now for this hour's car review, and like Mike said, it's time for the other Mike to talk about the Ford F-150.
Mike and Mike.
Yeah, buddy. Let me do that right quick. So we're talking about.
Well, did we interrupt something over there?
Yeah, you did.
Sorry to bother you.
I'm trying to we're trying to go from Mike to Casey at the same time. We're trying to do all this. Got lots of finger things going on here.
I have that problem too.
Yeah.
That finger was cold
and dirty.
Stop! Don't go there. We're talking about the 2021 Ford F-150 Super Crew Hybrid. Now, when I say hybrid, Ford calls it a power boost, and we happen to have it in the King Ranch trim level. So it's a full-size pickup, best-selling truck for 43 years. And give you just a quick overview. Don went through the whole review of the truck a couple of weeks ago, so we're just going to touch on that, bring everybody up to speed. We're talking 3 cab sizes, 3 bed lengths, 6 powertrains, 6 trim levels, and then there's the Raptor all by itself. So for 2021, it's got an all-new front fascia, got a grille. I love the redo they did on the hood, particularly at night. It's not as big and flat like it ran into a brick wall.
It's got curves and texture to it.
It's got some style to it. Yeah, I really like it. And so we had on ours, we had the complete LED lighting package. We had the heated power folding side mirrors, power deployable running boards, power tailgate step. We had the FX off-road package with the skid plates. We had the twin panel moonroof. And really where it really gets nice, and we were rolling on some nice 20-inch wheels, but in addition, we had the Pro Power Package. Now, this is part of the Power Boost. Now, this is where you're going to find the 120-volt or a 240-volt outlet that's inside the bed. Now, this comes from, there's 2 different packages, a 2.4 level kilowatt and a 7.2 kilowatt outlets. Now, according to Ford, you can literally, well, I'll tell you what. Because of the way we got the picture set up, my bad. This interior here, we'll get to the power in a minute. Interior, we were running on the Kingsville leather, all new interior, Kingsville leather, King Ranch styling. We had
cotton.
High cotton.
That is
nice.
beautiful.
Front row is heated, ventilated. Second row is heated, 60-40 fold-up seats. The front row this year, you can actually get an option to where the front seats will lay down literally.
That's what it looks like.
And,
It looks good.
yeah. I mean, it really kind of lays out there really nice. And
Great
you see
screen, too.
Nice big 12-inch screen. Now, this is vertical instead of this is horizontal instead of vertical. So the standard screen's 8. This is the optional 12. And it's got all your convenience controls in it. You're going to have the 360-degree camera package to where you can see all the way around it. It's the new infotainment system. This is the Sync 4. And one of the things I really liked about the landscape layout of the 12-inch versus a horizontal is there's room for buttons and knobs down below it to where you're not really got them tucked down so low. And I really like this arrangement. Now, we also have, as you can see there, a 12-inch gauge package there behind the steering wheel. And so it's your digital package, so you got lots of options on how to create it and work it up. Now, you'll also see right here is a good shot of the optional workspace that Mike was just talking about that you ran into that he was using. And it's got a deal to where the shifter will fold down into the console to get it out of the way. So you've got literally a tabletop right here. You can see it where everything kind of lays out and the shifter's gone.
That's cool.
And, of course, you got to be in park to do it. But it's really a nice place if you're working, taking notes, whether like him or you're out on a construction job or whatever you're doing. It really works out really nice to do that.
Makes a little workstation for you.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so you get up under the hood. Now, this is where it gets really interesting because this is where you're going to find it's a 35-kilowatt electric motor that works with a 3.5-liter twin-turbo EcoBoost V6. Now, what this does, it combines together for 430 horsepower, and it's backed by a 10-speed hybrid transmission. This is a transmission they've adapted and made it specifically for hybrid driving factors and how it all works together. Now, package it all together, and you can tow 7,300 pounds with this vehicle. It'll tow up to 12,000 if you get it equipped right. EPA says you should be looking for about 25 in the city and about 26 out on the highway. 700-mile range with a 30-gallon tank that comes with it on the hybrid model. And one thing I'll say, you never notice it shifting from one to the other. Electric to gas, you just don't ever see it. You don't feel it. You got to really look at the gauges to do it. It's quiet. It's smooth riding out on the highway. The battery located under the rear seat is kind of helps with the balance of the vehicle and the weight distribution. And then it's also got a couple of things. The Active Park Assist 2.0 in it was real interesting. And it's got an intersection assist that I hadn't heard of before or haven't paid attention to for left-hand turns. If you're making a left-hand turn with the left-hand turn blinker on, it senses if there's a vehicle coming towards you, it'll stop you or it'll let you know that there's a vehicle coming. You shouldn't be making that left-hand turn in traffic.
That would have helped me.
Yeah. So right here is a good shot of the electronics that everybody's talking about in this vehicle. You got a choice of it's 120 volt, 240 volt, either one. you can get a 2.4 kilowatt, but we had the 7.2 kilowatt generator battery package. Now, here's where it gets interesting. According to Ford, you can run a plasma cutter, a TIG welder, a chop saw, air compressor, an angle grinder, and a work light at the same time for 32 hours, up to 32 hours.
You're a busy guy doing all
Well,
of those.
I mean, that's what it's you can. That's how much load you can put on this thing.
And, well,
How much is this thing?
Oh, we haven't got to that yet.
Well, we need to hurry up.
Oh, okay, my bad. So, actually, to be honest with you, I didn't get a price. It's not on the Monroney.
okay.
But I did do some looking. If you go out and you look, a loaded platinum is easily going to hit you $70,000, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you add it into the options and stuff. I looked at a couple of different websites, and it's going to bump right at close to $80,000 by the time it actually rolls out. Now that's going to, if you go and compare it off to the others.
But with the big power generator, you could have kept your house powered up.
Well, exactly, and that's one of the things we talked about earlier about Ford actually tried to loan out a few of them. The problem was there's not that many of them out there, but you could do that,
And
because
people were bragging about that's what they were doing.
absolutely.
I don't know.
All right, thank you, sir. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube at InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, Pandora, Amazon, Podcast Addict, and others. In Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this quick break.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, March 20th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods, all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, March 20th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in, March 20th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting. That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.